What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in the garage and we're working on the Mk5. Let's head over to my workbench and we'll see what we've got going in today. Alright, out of this pile of parts that I have to go on the Mk5, what do you think we're doing today? We're going with motor mounts from 034 Motorsport. And with that being said, big thank you and shout out to 034 for joining me on the channel and this build. What we've got going in today is an engine and a trans mount right here. They have a higher durometer rubber inside of them, so they'll last longer, will get better feel, better power to the ground, and overall, just a better driving experience. I also have here a dog bone insert and a drive shaft support bearing, which is in this box here. These are not going to be going on today. These are going to be going on in a different video along with the exhaust, so that'll be in a different video. Also, big thank you to Urotuning for getting me hooked up with all of the new hardware, all of the bolts I'm going to need to do this job. Because all the factory bolts that we're going to take out are stretch bolts and you should replace them. So we've got some new ones to go in and replace all the bolts and make everything nice and new and refreshed. First thing I did was went ahead and pulled the belly shield out because that was in the way. Next thing, I've got, you can see my jack down there. I've got a piece of wood supporting the oil pan. So we've got that just slightly jacked up to where there's a little bit of pressure on it so we can go ahead and get these bolts out. Next, we're going to start on the passenger side. We have to move this out of the way, unplug the coolant ball, I believe remove the coolant ball out of the way, and I think there's some fuel lines down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start breaking this down, getting this torn apart, and I'll check in with you guys here in a minute. Alright guys, I went ahead and pulled the passenger side engine mount out. It's easy enough. It's only 4 bolts. 2 are 16, 2 are 18, and you've got the 2 that are attached to the block there, and the 2 that are attached to the frame down there. So now that that's out, we're going to go ahead and get the new one put in. Oh, and also you do have to kind of unbolt this so you can get to the 1 bolt. You can just kind of move it out of the way though, not a big deal. And then the washer hose, I just tucked it up under here to get out of the way. But other than that, there's nothing else in the way. There's nothing else that you need to do. Alright, so we've got all 4 bolts in, the 2 here to the body, the 2 there to the engine. And we've got an archer coming to visit. So the engine bolts are going to be 60 Newton meters plus a quarter turn, and the body bolts are going to be 40 Newton meter plus a quarter turn. So let me go grab my torque wrench. Okay, they are all torqued to spec. I'm going to wait to put this bracket back on that goes right here because it had some rust on it, so I'm putting some fresh paint on there. So until that's done, this will all just stay like this. Next, we've got to work on the trans mount. Now, my intake was already out of the car, so that's going to be your first step, is to remove the entire airbox assembly, everything out of the way. Then go ahead and remove the battery tray. Even though there's no battery up here, it's still a battery tray. So remove that out of the way. Then you're going to expose just this bundle of wires right here, and then the mount is actually right there. And it should be like 5 bolts. You've got the 3 up top there, and then there's like 2 that are underneath this here. We'll go ahead and move the wiring out of the way. You should be able to just kind of like get it loose and move it out of the way. You shouldn't have to like remove anything or unbolt anything. So I will let you guys know here in a second. Alright, slight correction. There are 4 body bolts over here. There was one that was very hidden under there. But those are all out. You can see the wiring harness is loose. You can move it around. Now we just need to go ahead and get those 3 bolts there off the top of the engine mount, and we can put in the new one. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, that was easy enough. I went ahead and cleaned up under there just because you're not going to see it, but there was some dirt and some grime up under there, so I went ahead and cleaned that. Now, let's go ahead and grab the new mount, grab the new bolts. You want to put some anti-seize on the bolts, by the way. Little pro tip. I didn't say this before, at least I don't think I did, but the transmission is supported by the jack and a piece of wood. So just make sure you do that. Uh-oh. Archer's barking at something. A little bit of progress. The top 3 engine bolts are in. They're not tight or anything yet. They're just loosely in there. I've got 1 of the body bolts in. I got to go ahead and put the other 3 in. You can see the socket is there. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop those other 3 in and get these things torqued down. Bolts are all in. I'm going to go ahead and get these torqued down. Just as a reminder, engine side 60 Newton meters, body side 40 Newton meters, and each has a quarter turn after the fact. Alright, everything is torqued back down over here. What I called earlier, the battery tray, which I'm looking at it now, doesn't really look like a battery tray. I'm going to call it the intake holder. Yeah, let's go with that, intake holder. That's back in. I don't have my new intake yet. It's on its way from CTS, so that'll be here eventually, and then we'll go ahead and get that thrown in. The bracket over here that I painted, I believe, is done drying, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and we'll put that bracket back in now. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up all the work. Let's take a look again and recap on what we did today. So we did the engine mount and the trans mount from 034 Motorsport. They are in, torqued down, and I can't wait to drive this thing. Not only because it's been months, but because I want to see how it feels with the motor mounts. I've never done mounts before, so I'm excited to see how it feels and the responsiveness. You can see here, we've got everything back in place. I've got the bracket put back in. The bolts are back down there. You can kind of, there's one right there. We've got the coolant reservoir back in, wiring, everything is good to go here. On this side, we've got that back in. We've got everything torqued down. Again, on both sides, engine side is 60 Newton meters plus a quarter turn. Body side is 40 Newton meters plus a quarter turn. And yeah, that pretty much wraps that up. Don't forget to go along with these mounts. I do have the drive shaft support bearing and also the dog bone insert, which is going to go under the car. And we'll do that in another video once I get this thing jacked up and on jack stands. Looking at my huge pile of parts over here, I've got so much to do. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some time, but I can't wait for it all to be done because this thing is going to be a really, really nice driving car once it's all finished. All right, well, that wraps this one up. Again, big shout out to 034 Motorsport and Urotuning for coming on for the build. We have some more parts from both of them coming very soon. As always, thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, see you guys later.